Yeah, that's cool. Hey,
But you cut yours off.
what do you use on that? Is that horse shampoo? Gets it nice
No,
and...
it's that not Bluey, because it's moved the deodorant.
All right. This time.
Boys, huh?
There we go. That's how you do it. Everybody do as Bruce is doing.
Can we all move up?
Gotta get some air. Come on. Get him high in the air. Born a champion. Woohoo! All right. Give yourself a round of applause.
Rocking 20.
Good job. Welcome, everyone, and thank you for being here. All right, so tonight we have our diabetes and blood sugar control workshop, and this one is going to span across a lot of different aspects of our health. So, crazy statistic, which you may be aware of, it's half of everyone you know right now is either diabetic or pre-diabetic. That's a pretty scary thought, isn't it? And so if you're sitting here right now and you're saying, well, I don't have diabetes, but let's see what he's got to say. You got to think that if you don't have it, then the odds are against us, and we have to be doing something to prevent it. Otherwise, again, the odds are stacked against us. And when it comes to your blood sugar, it's not just the diabetes. I mean, the diabetes is the least of our issues. There's many different issues that start to come up regarding this. Next month, we have our Holiday Health and Stress Survival workshop, so keep an eye on that. That's the last that you'll see of that workshop card. We have the new ones in. There's copies of the new workshop card for 2024 up front if you want to grab one. They are ready to go, hot off the press. So what are some of the long-term complications of diabetes? Nerve damage, neuropathy. Give me just a second here. All right, is that better? A little bit better? Okay. And what does that come from? It's from the alteration of the blood supply and the blood flow. And so the nerves get damaged, and then also, as a result of the lack of blood supply and the sugar rotting in the bloodstream, what happens? We lose limbs. 60% of all loss of limbs in the United States every year, the surgeries that are done from diabetes. And also, because of the blood supply being affected, what else? The sugar destroys our vision. So we have vision disturbances and then also hearing disturbances. You're more than 2.5 times more likely to die, to lose your hearing if you're diabetic than not. And also with blindness, on average, did you catch that? It begins how long before you're diagnosed?
Wow.
Yep, your vision starts going bad, leading to blindness 7 years before it's even detectable. So that's a concern. And heart disease, 75% of all diabetics actually die from heart disease. Again, you don't die from the diabetes, you die from the side effects and the complications that come with this. Strokes, and then Alzheimer's disease, which, as you know today, very, very costly. It's the third leading cause of death now in the elderly, and it's terribly, terribly expensive. I have a mother-in-law who is in memory care right now, and I can tell you that if you're looking at $70,000 a year, $6,000 a month, $7,000 a month, this is what the norm is. If you live in the state of Florida and you're going into memory care facilities because of Alzheimer's, it can literally bankrupt a family. So again, all stemming back from blood sugar issues. Kidney failure, don't have to tell you how much dialysis costs. When somebody has dialysis, unfortunately, that's the beginning of the end for many of those folks. And then cancer. What? Diabetes leads to cancer? Yeah. Anytime you're running high blood sugar, you're feeding cancer cells. And that actually increases your risk of cancer. Many people develop and die from cancer who, way back, it started with diabetes. And I can tell you some of the treatments that my mother had for her cancer condition were $20,000 a month for one treatment. So, there's a financial consequence that goes with this as well. Your health is your wealth. Everybody say that with me. Your health is your wealth. When you lose your health, all the money goes along with it. And you know, you may be saying, well, I have insurance for this. I have good, you know, I have MetLife and they'll pay for my memory care, or, you know, I have Medicare. Hey, somebody's paying for that, you know? When somebody's sick and their insurance is paying for it and those rates keep going up, who pays for that? Everybody. Yeah, everybody has to bear the burden of that. So just some things that I was thinking about that I wanted to share with you guys. Diabetes cuts off about 8.5 years off the average life expectancy. Did you know that? Yeah. So if you were supposed to live to 90 and you have diabetes and you're not doing anything to prevent it, you may be going out at 81, 82, and think of all those extra years that you could have to enjoy with your family. Journal of the American Medical Association, there was a study that was done that pointed to the fact that older patients with type 2 diabetes on these medications may what? Do more harm than good. And it always brings us back to the question, is the treatment worse than the disease itself? And this is what I want to kind of bring to light here with some of these. How many of you know somebody who takes metformin? Yeah. So most people don't know this. They think it's a harmless drug, and you can stay on it. Once they give it to you and you're diabetic, how long do you take it for? The rest of your life. It doubles your chance of dying from cardiovascular problems. Insulin is 25% of the diabetics in the United States are taking insulin right now. And insulin significantly raises your risk of cancer by 42% compared with other glucose-lowering drugs. Did you know that? Yeah. When you're taking insulin, when somebody's taking insulin, you're opening up the growth pathways in those cells, literally feeding cancer. It's like fertilizer. In heart failure patients, insulin use is associated with 4 times the risk of death. If you're a heart patient and they give you insulin, very serious and very dangerous. So the question becomes, well, if that's not a good idea, what else can we do instead, right? That's the only logical question to ask. When your blood sugar starts going up, again, by the time it's diagnosed, by the time they see your A1C is running pretty high, you know, you're running high blood sugar, you need to get that down. Your doctor may say to you, well, you're not diabetic yet, but it's a good idea to start taking care of this. Now, if you're already seeing your A1C going up, this is where the risk comes in. For every 1% increase risk in your A1C, you're risking 12 to 14% increasing the risk of death. For every 1% increase in your A1C, it's an 18% risk of cardiovascular events. For every 1% increase in A1C, you're increasing the risk of eye disease or kidney disease. For every 1% that your A1C goes up, guys, just 1%. We're not talking about 10% or 20%. Alzheimer's disease. Did you get that? When your A1C goes up, when you are, past that 5.7 into the 6s, you're literally doubling your risk. If you're a diabetic, you're doubling your risk of Alzheimer's disease. Now, if nobody told you this right now, this has already been published in journals for well over a decade now. You know about type 2 diabetes, right? Raise your hand if you know about type 2 diabetes, right? Raise your hand if you've ever heard the term type 3 diabetes. Okay. Type 3 diabetes is the next stage, when it starts affecting your brain and causing dementia and the early stages of Alzheimer's disease because of how long your blood sugar has been running so high. So again, published in medical studies, they show with the patients in these studies, follow-up studies, there's double the mass of brain loss in the folks who have the highest A1C compared to the ones who have the lowest A1C. The ones with the highest A1C have double the loss of brain matter, brain shrinkage. Now, I don't know about you, but that doesn't sound like something I like on my menu. How about you? So let's see what else we need to do to understand this. If you look at that circle on the left, that's a cell. All cells need glucose, right? Your brain, your muscle cells, your liver, all these cells need glucose. What do they need? Glucose. Now, the way that glucose gets into the cells is through those little hair-like projections sticking out. They're like little stubs of hair, stubble. And that's what actually escorts the glucose into the cell. Glucose can't get into the cell without that insulin receptor on it. So it's like a lock and key. The glucose is the key, the insulin receptor is the lock, it goes in, voila, we have entry into the cell. Make sense? Yep. Say yes? Okay. So once it's in the cell, now that glucose can go into something called the mitochondria, which is the powerhouse of the cell, which makes all the energy in the cell, and it does it by converting it to something called ATP. Turn to your neighbor and say, ATP.
ATP.
Adenosine triphosphate. Nobody's going to say that. Okay. But that's very good. But that's what's made. That's where we get our energy from in the cells. All right. So this is pretty important, basic biology. Now, how do we maintain the function of those cells so that it can generate normal energy and maintain an ecosystem of health internally? Well, we need to eat the foods that God designed us to eat. All right. Now, very simply, if you look at this picture, you see low sugar fruits, vegetables, eggs, fish, good fats, meats. What do you not see there? Rice, carbs, Oreo cookies, egg sugar. You don't see sugar, right? You don't see anything that's going to elevate your glucose significantly. So with these low glycemic foods, it provokes a lesser insulin response. So glucose goes up. You have glucose that rises in your bloodstream moderately when you eat low sugar foods, and insulin goes up moderately to escort that glucose into the cell. You with me so far? Now let's contrast that to the insulin resistant condition. You're eating bread, pasta, potatoes, cereals, grains, rice, because the food pyramid that we learned in elementary school told us that the foundation of our diet should be that, right? Rice and beans, all these things, lots of carbs that fill us up, make us feel full. Well, what does glucose do? Woo! It's going to take you for a ride now. Goes all the way up, all right? That's when your eyes start getting heavy. That's when you start getting sleepy, right? And then what happens? Then insulin goes up. And then insulin, you can see how much it goes up because it has to compensate for that glucose to get all of that into the cell. Now, if that's a one-hit wonder, you just have some pizza at a party and you usually don't do that, that's going to come and go. The problem is when you're doing that for breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks, you're constantly killing the carbs with our standard American diet, pizza, French fries, sub sandwiches. You know, we have our potatoes for dinner, we have our bread basket when we go out for dinner, right? All these things are driving glucose and driving insulin. Now, what do you see on the picture with the circle on the right? What do you see less of?
Receptor.
I'm doing terrible. That's it. Yeah, no, that's right. So what do you see less of there?
Receptor.
You see less of those little hairs and the receptors. Why are there less insulin receptors? Because they're overworked. They're on strike. And they said, hey, we've had enough. We need a break. So they go down for the count. They say, you can eat all the garbage you want. I'm on strike. And if that sugar can't get into the cell, then where does it stay?
In the blood.
In the blood. And there you have a condition called insulin resistance, type 2 diabetes. So what is causing all the sugar to get backed up? The lack of the insulin receptors working. Now, if they were working fine there when we had less sugar, and they're not working very well here, what is the cause? The sugar. So what do we need to do if it's possible to heal up those insulin receptors and work out an agreement to get them back on the job? Then what do we have to ease off of? The sugars, the grains, all the carbs. And when you do that, then they start healing. They start coming back. They start going back to work. But you have to go easy and have lower glycemic index foods. Foods that don't provoke an insulin response, like you see here. Is that making sense? Now, when you're a diabetic, a type 2 diabetic, and you have insulin resistance, what do they give you when you go to the endocrinologist to get the sugar into the cell? If you're insulin resistant, what do they want to use to get that glucose into the cell? What drug? We just talked about it. Insulin. Right, insulin. Now, the problem already is that you're insulin resistant. So, you have high blood sugar. That's problem number one. We already know that. Problem number two is that you're already insulin resistant. And so, if you're already insulin resistant and they give you more insulin, insulin is a hormone that causes weight gain. Did you know that? Insulin is a hormone that causes weight gain. It causes your body to store fat. When insulin goes up, you're going into fat storage. When you keep your insulin low, your body hormonally wants to burn fat. So what's happening here is that you already have insulin resistance, you're taking insulin, and that hormone is making you gain weight. And when you do that, guess what weight gain does to insulin resistance? It causes more insulin resistance. The more weight you gain, the more insulin resistant you're going to be. So what is the insulin doing to this problem? Making it better or making it worse?
Worse.
It's creating a vicious cycle, which is why people on insulin have the shortest life expectancy. So there's got to be a better way. Now let's talk about fructose. I talked to you about glucose. Every cell in your body needs glucose, but not every cell in your body can actually process fructose. What is fructose? It's the fruit sugar, right? So the only place that fructose can be processed is where? In the liver. See that little missile right there? When you have too much fruit, like high concentration, extra large servings of fruit, high fructose corn syrup, the sodas, even alcohol, it's only processed in one location, which is the liver. So, like a heat-seeking missile, the only place that this sugar can be processed is in the liver. It goes straight to the liver without raising your blood sugar, your blood glucose at all, without provoking an insulin response. This causes fatty liver disease and insulin resistance. So this is a huge problem which is flying under the radar, which is very serious and very dangerous. And a lot of people are serious risk of death, and there's no signs or symptoms. There's not like, okay, your A1C is normal, your glucose is normal, and you may be seriously at risk for cancer or developing insulin resistance and diabetes without even having high blood sugar. Is this making sense? So when we look at this, we need to just understand that the concept here is that it produces fatty liver and insulin resistance directly without elevating your blood sugar. That's what fructose does. Now, where do we find fructose? Where? Where do we get fructose? Right. Fructose is found in sugar, but it's also found in high fructose corn syrup, which is a mixture of fructose and sucrose. And so it just processes right in the liver, and that's what causes fat storage. There's a chemical reaction that occurs in your liver which processes all of this and causes your body to store fat. Your liver can only store so much sugar and so much energy. After that, it converts everything over to what? Fat. And that's where fatty liver comes from. Too much fructose, high fructose corn syrup, and all of these things that we may be doing. Now, some of it we may be doing consciously, some of it we may be doing it unconsciously. But let's look at this. I was talking to somebody yesterday, one of my patients, and he's like, I don't eat breakfast. Usually during the day, I'll have a couple of pieces of fruit. I'll have like 2 bananas. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm not going to go into the nutrition of this, but that's not a good idea. Why is it not a good idea? Because it's the highest, besides dates, bananas is one of the highest contents of sugar in a fruit that you can find. So, if you're trying to lose weight, if you're trying to get your blood sugar down, is having, 2 bananas a day a good idea? If you're trying to get your body in fat burning, that's the last thing that you want to do, right? Sparingly, maybe a couple of slices. Yes, but if you look down the spectrum of this, lychees, grapes, figs, mangoes, really you want to, if you're trying to correct a metabolic problem, get your blood sugar down, get into fat burning, lose some weight, correct your metabolism, you want to be gravitating toward the low sugar fruits. Can everybody see that right there? Kiwis, strawberries, avocados, blackberries, grapefruits, and raspberries. So I'll talk a little bit more about that. But you see that tall can of fruit right there? If you're having something like that for breakfast and you eat the whole thing, is that a good idea? No. Too much of a good thing is not a good thing. And so now we're starting to get the picture. A cup of blueberries or a cup of mixed fruit, you're good to go. You're okay with that. So when it comes to stabilizing your blood sugar, correcting your metabolism, getting into fat burning, losing fat, losing weight, it all has to do with a hormonal response. We've bought into this lie, which talks about cutting calories, when you want to lose weight, you have to reduce calories, but really that's not where it's at. The thing that makes your body get into fat burning is by controlling the hormone insulin. By controlling what? Insulin, yeah. Now, when insulin goes up, your body's starting to store fat. So you just have to look at the foods that you're eating. First thing in the morning, if you're having donuts, bagels, cereal, Cheerios, Nutri-Grain bars, croissants, you got the picture, right? What are we doing? We're driving glucose, which is causing a what? An insulin response. It's telling your body, hey, we're getting ready for winter. We're going into hibernation. Let's store up as much fat as we possibly can, right? That's what you're programming your body to do. And that's how you're starting your day, and how you start your day is how your day goes. So if you're trying to lose weight and get your metabolism corrected, we have to keep that insulin down. First thing in the morning, stay away from those carbs. You'll have yourself a serving of protein. You have maybe some low sugar fruits, some good fats like almond butter, avocados, things like that. So if you look down at that food section, you can see you got your meats, you got your nuts, you got your fats, you got your vegetables, your low sugar fruits. And this typically is what enables a person to maintain their weight, maintain their metabolism, and maintain their health. Because that's how you go about healing your blood sugar, your blood pressure, your cholesterol, your triglycerides, prevent cancer. It all comes back to one thing: controlling your what? Controlling your sugar. If you control your sugar, you control your insulin. If you control your insulin, you control your hormones. If you control your hormones, you control your metabolism. If you control your metabolism, everything else will stabilize. All the diseases that people are medicated for today, diabetes, high blood pressure, heart disease, all of these things are mediated by proper metabolic cycles. And we know this. It's one thing that fixes all these things. And if you see that picture up there of the big cow, it's the same thing with our farm animals. You ever see the difference between a slab of grass-fed meat, like a ribeye, versus a slab of grain-fed ribeye? The grain-fed is thicker, fatter, full of all the marbling and all the fat. And the grass-fed, you don't have any of that in there. Why is that? Because the cows are eating the grass, and that's what they're supposed to be eating. The cows that are fed the corn and the grain are what? They're making more fat. Yeah, it's the same with farm animals as it is with us. Insulin is doing all that. And that's why they feed all the farm animals this corn. It's not just the cows, it's the pigs, the chicken, the fish. Everything that you can sell, you're getting price per pound, right? And the heavier they are, the bigger they are, the more plump they are. Not just the juicier they are, the more profitable they are, right? So, unfortunately, those grains, that's bad news. We're at the other end of that food chain. And that's driving inflammation and driving degenerative disease inside us as well. So what do we need to do? Kill the what? Kill the carbs, yeah. When we kill the carbs, you're going to be reversing insulin resistance. If you reverse insulin resistance, what else are you reversing? What else? Fatty liver disease, obesity, heart disease, cancer, diabetes, Alzheimer's, yeah, all these things. Your vision will actually improve when you start eating better. Try it. You'll see. And the list goes on, but when you look at all of these foods in there, are these things that we can do better with? Yes or yes?
Yes.
Yeah. Now, we don't live in a perfect world, and nobody in here is perfect. We are all a work in progress, right? We're all a work in progress. No perfect people, including myself. I tend to be good most of the time, but then every once in a while I'm like, darn it, I'm ready for a cheat day. And I'll go and get my calzone or my stromboli, or I just but the problem is I have such a bad reaction to it. It's my fat cells are still there. They're just shriveled up when I eat good, and then when I have one bad day, they plump right back up. And I think I have my mother to thank for that. That's all. That's genetics. And then you have one bad cheat day, and then it takes me a whole week to recover, and then get my body back into fat burning. So I get just as frustrated as when I crave that as after I blow it, because then I'm like, you know what? It wasn't worth it. Just sitting there for a half hour, an hour, and enjoying the taste of that, and now I got to pick up the pieces and work my tail off for the next week. That's why I don't do it all that often. I just don't. I'm just happier when my pants have room in them, as opposed to waking up the next day, right, Reggie? And you're like, I'm just going to let that loop out one more notch. Tomorrow's another day, right? So it comes down to making choices, and the question is the short-term enjoyment, right, from the food and the taste that you get worth the long-term disillusionment, disappointment with the decision that we made and the disease that it cost us, right? And when after a while you start seeing the pattern, it gets easier and easier. I'm not saying it ever goes away. It's like sin that follows us around, You just gotta try to stay in the spirit and not in the flesh. So this is it, You know what the poisons are. We know what they are. But we just have to, our commitment to good health has to be stronger than our commitment to what tastes good at the moment. Making sense? So we need to transition away from that old, putrid, rancid food pyramid that we learned in elementary school that told us all the carbs. That's what we're supposed to be eating all the time. 60% of that. The base of our food pyramid should be what? Proteins and vegetables. That's really what you should be looking for when you make a choice on your menu or you're going shopping. This is really what the biggest consideration is. And wherever you are, you can easily do that. Pick the fish that you like, pick the piece of meat that you like, pick the whatever comes with it, broccoli or asparagus or green beans. That's the most important part. And you know what? If it comes with bread or if it comes with rice or potatoes, what can you easily ask the server to do?
Not put it on the plate.
Swap them out. What other vegetables do you have besides green beans? Oh, we have our vegetable of the day. Can I get that instead of the rice? Can I get that instead of the potatoes? Yeah. And you just ask. But you have your piece of fish or you have your piece of steak, or you can have your steak and asparagus, whatever it is, but you know what not to have. You know what the no-nos are, and it's not like you have to have any less food. You know that when you have the potatoes and the rice and the bread, you're gonna feel a little more full. But what can you do to still feel satisfied in the absence of eating that? You have more vegetables. Number one, You can have a lot of vegetables, really unlimited vegetables, to be honest with you. And then number 2, to make sure that you feel full, besides just the quantity of food that you're eating, you have to have good fats. So, what does that look like, Luther, if you're having your green beans, and maybe you have some squash with that, right? What do you want to put all over that? Extra virgin olive oil, right? Those veggies want to be doing the backstroke. They should be elevating off your plate, swimming in olive oil, right? There's no restriction. You're not taking a tablespoon to measure it out. You're not going to get fat from good fat, right? Ask them, like when we go over to La Bamba, love La Bamba, I've been going there for 30 years actually. And we'll go, that's one of the places my wife and I go out for dinner. So I like having the grilled chicken avocado salad, and it comes in that tortilla shell, and I just turn it over on the plate, and I put it on the side. And I just douse it with extra virgin olive oil, but it's got avocados in there. Lots of good fat with that and the extra virgin olive oil. And I'll have a little bit of the balsamic vinegar on there, or the red wine vinegar, whatever it is. But these are just, creative ways, options, and it's a habit. It becomes a habit. And you can do that also, Philomene. When you go shopping, you make yourself a list, and you start looking at the labels and how much sugar, how many carbs, added sugars, and things like that. And this is where it all starts, by knowing the effect that these foods are going to have. They're either going to make you a fat burner or a fat storer. Raise your hand if you want to be a fat burner. Say aye.
Aye.
Yeah, I want to be in fat burning, yeah. So there you have it. Meats, eggs, fish, veggies, fruits. What kind of fruits? Low sugar fruits, yeah. Nuts and seeds. If you're going to have almonds, make sure they're not dry roasted. Make sure they're not coated with the sugar and the cinnamon, right? Big difference. You want to get the organic. What other kind of nuts are good? Cashews. You like cashews, Joshua? Huh? Cashews? Yeah? Yes. Organic cashews. What's that?
Pecan.
Yeah, you can have some pecans. They're a little more acidic, but walnuts are good also. But again, the thing is, try to get the organic. The more they do to those nuts, the less healthy they become. So try to get organic, not dry, not dry roasted, not salted in its purest form. And again, don't go overboard with them. You can have yourself like a half a cup, and that will keep you going for a while. When I ran the Disney Marathon 20 years ago, I'm dating myself. I carried almonds with me. They were water-soaked almonds, and that gave me all the energy that I needed for 6 hours of running. It was not a problem. And my coach was right. He got me into all this nutrition, and the nutrition that I teach is the nutrition that was taught to me, and it's based on endurance. And living life is an endurance event, not just running marathons, right? Or right? Yeah. So I'm teaching you what to do for maximum energy, and maximum energy gives you a better quality of life. How many of you raise your hand if you want more energy? Right? All of us. So this is where it starts with these choices. Okay, excellent. Well, someone always says the mind can only absorb what the seat can endure. So I want to take a moment and a mental break and recognize some peeps here. Let's see who we can recognize. Who can we recognize? Yeah, we have 2 people in the room that I want to recognize, and these are very special people. Now, one person is just like RoboCop. He is here for every single adjustment, never misses an appointment, same day, same time, same station, same game face. He's ready to get healthy, and he never misses an appointment. Put your hands together for Mr. Rodney Hilton. Tomorrow's going to come around and give you your Medal of Honor there while you stand there and everybody looks at you and admires you. And,
It'll be just like you whenever.
yeah, very nice. Keep up the good work. And another special recognition, another special award. And this is for somebody who is here and I have to say this, both of them are doing very well. When I refer to her and her husband, they're feeling better. They have more energy, like we talked about. Their back doesn't hurt anymore. But she was responsible for sending her husband, and her husband just wrote us a wonderful Google review as far as how amazing his life has changed. And I wish Bill was here with you, but you're here tonight, Philomene, so we're going to recognize you for being a good influence on your family. And we have something special for you. We got a Medal of Honor and a little token of our appreciation there, an Elevation Health tea cup, coffee cup. We hope you enjoy it. You're a blessing. You're a blessing. We appreciate you, both of you guys. Okay, so I want to keep the blood going to your brain. So I'm going to ask everybody to stand up and turn and face the person on their right. And so what you want to do is you want to put your hands on their shoulders in front of you. All right. And you're going to squeeze their shoulders. Not too hard. We're all friends here. Love your neighbor. Don't hurt them. Good. Get that stress out. All right. And now we're going to do a karate chop. Good. Karate chop. Good. Get that stress out. Got to get the blood going to the brain there. All right. Good. Turn around and love your other neighbor. Bend down, Denise. We're going to start. Nice, easy massage. Very nice. Good job. All right. Look at that. Tamara and Deborah are participating too. All right, karate chop, karate chop. Doesn't that feel good?
Yes.
All right, that should keep you going for a little while. All right,
Thank
give
you.
yourself a round of applause. Wonderful, wonderful. Okay, so next slide. Now this is in your handout. I'm not going to read through this. I gave this to you so that you could take it home and read it. But the preservatives and these ingredients that you need to look into, these chemicals, affect the cells, they affect the mitochondria, they affect your energy, and they also are a main culprit for metabolic dysfunction and insulin resistance. So there's a lot of research that I've been doing on this, and I wanted to bring your attention to what's in a lot of these processed foods. The pesticides, the flavor enhancers, the hormones, preservatives, all these things. And they have a significant effect on cellular health and metabolic dysfunction. Now, I'm not going to read through it. You guys have it in your handout. I would ask you to please take time when you get home and look through these things. And then, hey, what's more important than the information? Application, right? So what does that mean? Well, I printed it out for my wife. Because she's, I mean, when I look through this, I'm like, oh my gosh, I wonder if she knows what to be looking for on the labels when she goes shopping. So thankfully I saw she posted it on the refrigerator, and now she can cross-check with everything that she buys. You can look at it on the labels and see. Because again, if you're trying to get your blood sugar down, your A1C down, if you're trying to lose weight, if you're trying to have better brain function, better body function, better blood pressure, better blood sugar, it's going to be an uphill battle if you're still pouring this stuff into your body. Doesn't that make sense? So we need to get a good look at that, and I hope that's helpful for you. But let me know if you have any questions on your next visit. All right, so let's make some more application with this. All right, Miriam? So what do you see here for breakfast?
Berries.
Yes, you got fruits. This is the breakfast of champions. What do you not see there for breakfast? You don't see baked goods, you don't see breads, you don't see cereals. So what kind of effect is that going to have on your blood sugar? It's going to be good. It's going to be stable. You want your blood sugar to stay stable. You wake up, it's steady. Your fasting blood sugar is rock solid. You wake up with good energy, and you want to keep it that way. What happens to your energy if you fill it with sugar? It's going to spike up, and then you're going to crash. Then you're going to need more coffee. Now, so when you look at that, you'll also see in there is that's my counter. That's what I have. I don't eat all those berries in one shot, but we'll take it out of there. We'll put a little bit on a plate. Like I said, probably about less than a cup. But also, what's really important if you're gonna have all you're gonna have is that for breakfast, If you just have berries and you don't have any fat, what's going to happen an hour later? Less than an hour later, you're going to be snacking, you're going to be hungry. So what do you do to offset the hunger? You have to have good what? Good fat. What are some good fats that go great with berries? Almond butter, right? Organic peanut butter. Almond butter is better, all right? But again, same, don't get the dry roasted. Try to get the organic. Yeah, it's a little more expensive. But again, this is your health that we're talking about, and you want to have the best outcome with this. So you want to get the good almond butter, and you take yourself a tablespoon of that almond butter. You probably got good 15 grams of fat in there. Not the type of fat that's going to make you fat. It's going to help your body burn fat. It'll keep you from getting hungry, and then you'll have a nutritious breakfast. The shake up there has 24 grams of protein in it. Very low in sugar, all the antioxidants, all the vitamins that you need, and a low-level detox in it. And that's what I have every morning for breakfast. After I work out, that's what I have. Saves me time. I literally take it. I have the shake. You can mix that shake with almond milk or coconut milk, whatever type of special milk that you want that has good fat in it for the flavor if you want. Or you can mix it with water. I just mix it with water, scoop it up, down the hatch. I take the berries and the almond butter into my bathroom, and while I'm taking a shower, before I take a shower, after I take a shower, I'm eating it while I'm on the run. Saves me time. I'm out of the house in literally 15 minutes with that. Saves me. I don't eat while I'm taking a shower. It's before and after the shower. Yes. Yes. The shake? What?
Mix all of the fruits and the
No,
almond butter.
I don't, but you can. Yeah, that's what you call a smoothie. You can do that. I don't like the extra work of having to clean up. I don't want to give the extra work to my wife either. She's happy without me doing that. So I try to keep the place clean. I use a plastic cup, and you know, that's it. It saves me time. Believe it or not, it saves money too. Because think of all the food that you're not buying that costs all that money in the grocery store, and you know, a shake may last you 2, 3, 4 weeks. A big bottle, a big tub like that. And it's got it's got more nutrients in it than any breakfast that you could put together like that. So that's what I like about that. I'll share more about that in a minute, but that's my breakfast. What else is good? You got all your peppers there. You got your eggs. Again, you know, you can make this with butter. You can make it with extra virgin olive oil. You can make your eggs with coconut oil. By the way, coconut oil, you can cook at high heat, like if you're going to do stir fries, but what should you never use on high heat? What kind of oil? Olive oil. You guys know that. Good. And how about that? Steak and eggs? Bruce, you like that?
I love that.
I knew you would. I knew that's my the meat man. That's right. And you know, so
Grain fed.
grain fed, yeah, all the way. Let's just all go over to Longhorns after this. Bruce is buying.
Natural brown eggs.
So you got the point, right? So that's actually a keto meal right there. And you eat that, you won't probably be eating until dinner again. So lots of good fat in there, lots of saturated fat. And if you were at my heart workshop last month, what did you learn about saturated fat and the steak? Does that raise your cholesterol? Do foods with high cholesterol raise your cholesterol? No, they do not. And that'll actually help your body get into fat burning more than you would think. So it's a great recommendation. All these for breakfast. How about for lunch? Should we be doing our Subway sandwiches or our Jersey Mike's now? I don't know what happened to Subway, but all I'm seeing is Danny DeVito doing his dancing in between the football games. So it's like, you know, the last thing that we should be having for lunch is what? Bread. You know, we're maintaining great insulin levels. We're correcting our insulin sensitivity all day long. Great energy, no highs, no lows. And then bam, you have your bread for lunch. And then what happens? The bottom drops out, right? Or, you know what I'm saying? You know, we'll go out to lunch and we have these things that provoke an insulin response, and there goes our energy. Here's one way to maintain it. You have your chicken. That looks like broccoli, and right there, that looks like sweet potatoes, and that would be legal on a paleo diet. And you know what? For many of you here who don't have blood sugar issues, doing that, mixing that in, not going to be a problem. For those of you who are diabetic, who are trying to get your A1C down, I would say wait until you get a normal range before you start popping the sweet potatoes or the regular potatoes. there comes a time where, you're able to have some of these foods. But if you're in remission, if you're in the healing phase, and then you want to, try to avoid these things. How about a Greek salad? What do you have in there? You have lots of good fats, right? You have your protein and your fats from your cheese. You have your olive oil in there. Even if you got that with a slice of chicken, or salmon, a salmon Caesar is good also. You see, ideal for lunch. And again, you may be looking at this and saying, wow, that's pretty light. But what you may be overlooking is that all the good fat in there and the protein will keep you full and satisfied. And it'll help you to maintain your energy and generate the energy you need to get through your day. At the same time, what do all those good fats do to the inflammation in your body? It cuts it down. It reduces the inflammation. All the joints that are aching, the pains, and also the inflammation on the cells, which is part of the diabetic condition, and the high blood pressure, and the cholesterol. All these good oils and good fats help to reduce that inflammation. How important is that? Right? Yeah, so every meal, what are you seeing here? You have to have good what? Good fat. Yeah, these are the keys to the kingdom, guys. The last place that you want to blow, like if you had bread for breakfast or lunch, your sins can still be forgiven. But if you blow it for dinner, you're done. You just took a good day and just ruined it, and there's no turning back. Because now you turned on that fat storage and you're going into hibernation to sleep, and you're not going to wake up a happy camper. And those are the days where your pants are tight. So there's a little bit of grace while your metabolism has to keep up with the day if you blow it during breakfast or lunch. But you don't ever want to have your carbs at night. For that last meal, if you're trying to lose weight, if you're trying to get your blood sugar under control, this is the most important meal. Is what? Dinner, yeah. This is the time where you just have your meat, your vegetables, your proteins, your fats, and that's it. You don't want to have anything else. And you can do quite fine with that. So you got your lamb there, which is grass-fed. Got your broccolini. You got a salmon dish there. You got a chicken dish there. You can make a stir-fry also. Doesn't that stir-fry look good?
Yeah.
But what does it not have?
Rice.
Rice. You'd be just fine without the rice. You're not going to croak without the carbs. You're going to be just fine, I promise you. As long as you have the good fats. Your body can use those fats for energy. And it actually does better with fats for energy. It's longer lasting than the carbs. And we know that. What's that?
The shrimp isn't good.
The shrimp isn't good, no. Well, you don't like the shrimp? It
It's
is.
not good for cholesterol.
So,
Well, I don't want to open that can of worms because, yeah, I'll give you some pointers. After the workshop, I'll show you. Very little of the food that we eat that is high in cholesterol has an effect on our blood cholesterol. So I'll show you how to navigate through that. But everybody's got the point, pretty much, right? You're starting to see how important those good fats for every single meal. Just think, instead of the carbs, you're having the good fats, right? Instead of the carbs, you're putting in the good fats, and you're going to be just fine. And if you do this consistently, you will see results. This is the shake that I was talking about. It's called the Breakfast of Champions. It's got a full multivitamin spectrum on it. Every vitamin that you would ever need is in this, with the exception of vitamin D. I don't know why they left it out, but it's not in there. Nonetheless, it's got more bang for the buck between that, the amount of protein that it has, 26 grams of protein, and it has a low-level detox in it every day, which boosts the liver and the kidneys and your gut for getting the toxins out of your body. So that's another reason why I like to do that, to support my body from that aspect. But at any rate, I have a lot of patients that over the years have taken this as a meal replacement and done really nothing else. And they'll come back to the workshops and just report that they've lost 10 pounds, 15 pounds over the course of like 2-3 months. maybe partly because of the caloric reduction, but also because it helps to maintain steady blood glucose as well. So definitely appropriate for the workshop, what we're talking tonight. Also, there are 3 supplements that help to stabilize blood sugar. Some of them just as effective as the drug as metformin. But Ultraplex Glucose helps with whole body glucose utilization, whether it's your brain, muscle cells, your liver. It really helps to support insulin sensitivity. And that's what needs to be regained with a type 2 diabetic, or even maintained, even if you're not diabetic. So it's a good supplement for that. Berberine is the one that's just as effective as metformin. They found in studies correcting elevated blood glucose. Helps your immune system also. There's antioxidant support with that. There's also antioxidant support with alpha lipoic acid. And again, it's supporting whole body glucose utilization. So what we know is that when these 3 supplements are used together, it has a synergistic effect, which makes them more effective when used together, the 3 combined, as opposed to individually. So that's always my recommendation, especially for somebody who has elevated A1C, elevated glucose, diabetic, pre-diabetic. This would be my recommendation. Now, you know, if you've been to a workshop here before, this is the only time that we discount the supplements at the workshop. So it's 15% off this supplement suite, or anything that has an Ultraplex green label on it is subject to that as well. Also in your handout, there is a flyer that said something to the effect of BOGO. And we've never done this before, so we're going to fly with it and see how you guys like it, but without adding any confusion to the promotion tonight, it starts tomorrow. There are 4 items in that BOGO sale where it's buy one, get one free. Everything else is buy one, get one 50% off. Okay? Now again, I didn't want to get my staff into trouble tonight, so that starts tomorrow and it goes until, I think, the 30th, it says. So you guys have that on your radar. You're the first ones to learn about it, and it's first come, first serve based on availability. So I hope you use it and enjoy it. All right, treating the cause of disease. This was published in the Archives of Internal Medicine. 23,000 people adhered to 4 simple behaviors: not smoking, exercising 3.5 hours a week, eating a healthy diet, maintaining a healthy weight, under 30, which is a BMI. Does everybody know what BMI is? Body mass index, yeah. If your BMI is 30 or over, it's almost a given that at some point in the near future, you're going to be diagnosed with diabetes, heart disease, or cancer. So it's very serious and very dangerous. You need to know what that number is if you're at risk, and you need to do everything that you can to make sure that you are under 30. In those adhering to these behaviors, 93% of diabetes, 81% of heart attacks, 50% of strokes, 36% of all cancers were prevented. And the research also points to reversing these conditions as well. So this is published in medical studies. So the question is, how come my medical doctor doesn't tell me about this?
Yes.
How come my medical doctor doesn't help me with this? Because they don't get paid to do that. They get paid to diagnose what your problem is and prescribe you medication. And that's the standard of medicine, and that's what your insurance pays for, and that's what they're paid for by the hospital administrators and the people who own the hospitals. And they're not in the business to do anything else because it's not as profitable. So, although it's been published in medical journals, the only way for you to apply that is to be aware of that and know what the solutions are. So, is exercise important? Yes. Can exercise by itself control your blood pressure, reverse insulin sensitivity, reverse diabetes type 2? And the answer is no. And exercise can help a little bit, but the bigger effect that you're going to have on your blood sugar and correcting metabolic disease is weight loss. They did a study with 107 individuals over the age of 70, and they had 3 groups. One was just weight loss. The people who just lost weight, they improved insulin sensitivity by 70%. The second group who did weight loss and exercise, they improved insulin sensitivity by 86%. And the people who did exercise alone, What kind of improvement did they show with insulin sensitivity? Zilch, zero, nada. So the biggest bang for your buck to correct metabolic dysfunction, we know, is weight loss. I'm not saying exercise is not important. It is important. It's hugely important. But you cannot exercise your way to better health. That's what the studies are finding today. So when we do a weigh-in in our weight loss system, some of you have gone through this, you've done it. You stand on a scale, and basically what we're measuring first is your body mass index. You know, we're not really concerned about your body weight, whether you weigh 200 pounds or 180 pounds or 160. That's not the significant thing. The significant thing is that what percentage of your body is fat. You know, we did this on somebody last week, and she knew she was a little bit overweight, but she didn't know how bad it was. Now, when you take your shoes and socks off, the computer puts a low-level electrical impulse through your body, and it can discern the resistance in the fat cells, the muscle, and the water. They all have different resistances because of their tissues. And it comes up with an algorithm to divvy it up and tell you what percentage of your body is what. We found on this person that she weighed 200 pounds, but her body fat percentage was 50%. She was literally carrying around 100 pounds of body fat. Now, she's not the only one. I mean, this happens more than you think. It happens to people who actually look skinny on the outside, but they have fatty liver disease. And they have lots of visceral fat, and their bodies are storing fat. They just don't know it. How do you know it? Well, you have a body composition analysis, and you look and you see what it reports. Body fat percentage, body mass index, your visceral fat, that's the amount of fat that's around your liver, around your organs. And you see if you're in normal range or you're in the danger zone. And the other thing that it measures is your metabolic age. So let's say you're 60 years old and your metabolic age shows that you're 90. What does that mean? Your metabolism is working like a 90-year-old. And let's say you go home and you say, dang it, I need to lose weight. So you cut your calories in half. You know, you're eating like 1,000 calories a day, right? You're not exercising. But you're really what you're losing is water and muscle, right? You're not losing fat. So your body, as a survival mechanism, it slows the metabolism down in the process. And then what happens, you're like, oh, I lost 15 pounds. Woohoo, that's awesome. And then you start eating again, now, with your metabolism, which is slower than it was when you started, and then what happens? Gain it all back and then some. So the important thing is that if you're going to correct your metabolism and get yourself out of harm's way for the next decade to come, you have to know that if you're going to lose 15, 20 pounds, great, we want to help you do that. But the most important part about this is the health aspect of getting your BMI down into a healthy range, getting your visceral fat down into a healthy range, making sure that when you lose 15 pounds, what do you want it to be? Muscle, water, or what? Fat, yeah. The only way to quantify that is with a body composition analysis. So that's the only specific way to do that. And so we do that in our office with a very specific plan. There's a food plan. We have a journal that you follow. You actually you weigh out your food. You mark down exactly what you're eating. You come in. You have progressive weigh-ins. We look over everything and we manage it, and we do follow-up weigh-ins, and we chart all that for you. It corrects the metabolism, reverses fatty liver disease. There are special supplements that help your body get into fat burning. And everybody who does this, who actually follows it to a T, loses at least 15 or 20 pounds. Those are women. Most men lose over 20 pounds, 20, 25 pounds. So this is, some of you know Sybil Green. She's Rodney, she's in our Sunday school class. Yeah, so Jim, you know. So this was when she first started. This was a month ago on the left and on the right. So she lost 20 pounds in 30 days. And let me tell you, man, she's just like, she's like 20 years younger. I wish she was here tonight. She was supposed to be here. But and I just I'm really excited for it. So her whole life is changing for the better in many ways. But at any rate, you guys are familiar with what we do, and it's this program we've put thousands of people through. And I want to let you know, so if you are a guest in here and you've never had this done and you'd like to have it done, normally for that body composition analysis, for us to do that for you with the computer, go over your results, review your goals, see if you're a candidate for the program. Normally it's $99. If you're a guest here, it's only $37 because we're doing it as a special. If you're a patient and you've never had this done and you'd like to have it done, ask Deborah. I told her we're going to do it complimentary for you. All right? If you would like to have it done and you're concerned about your health, I am personally going to review that body composition analysis with you and try to give you some pointers. So if you're currently active as a patient of mine, just let Deborah know if you'd like to have that done. We're going to waive that fee this time. All right? So just see them tonight before you leave. All right, so question for you. What does chiropractic have to do with your blood sugar? Anything important? I had a lady that walked in my office. She was bent over like this. She said, Dr. Yachter, my back is killing me. What can you do to help me? And I said, I don't know. We need to take a look in there. So we went in the exam room, and we got an x-ray. And the x-ray showed me that there were vertebrae out of alignment in the mid-back, and it was putting pressure on her nerve. I said, Georgia, come on over here. So I laid her down on the table. I said, I think I found where your back is hurting. So I started moving the bone, trying to open it up, get the pressure off the nerve, and I felt the bones moving. And this is, for an older lady, this is not usually what I feel. So she got up off the table, and instead of standing like this, she stood straight up like that. Yeah. So I didn't expect that. So I said, all right, I'd like you to come back tomorrow so I could check up on you, make sure you're doing okay. In the meantime, I look and she's got an insulin pump. I couldn't see it before because she was bent over. So she said, okay, I'll be back tomorrow, see you later. She leaves, and about an hour later, somebody runs in off the street screaming at the top of their lungs. Call an ambulance, one of your patients has passed out. I saw her leave your office an hour ago. So I ran over there, and there she is, she's passed out, slumped over her steering wheel. I ran in as fast as I could, called the ambulance, and as I'm hanging up the phone, I'm thinking, oh, she's diabetic. Let me just try some juice on her lips. Maybe that'll help. Sure enough, she came to, just like that, from the orange juice, dabbing on her lips. And then the ambulance came and took her away. And I'm walking back in my office thinking to myself, what just happened? She stood straight up. I thought she was doing great, and now she's in the hospital. Did I do this? I don't understand what went wrong. Well, here's what happened. I woke up the next day. I came to the office as fast as I could. I couldn't sleep. It was just bothering me all night. I started studying the x-rays, and I see Georgia walk in, like an hour later. I'm taking care of patients, and she walks through the front door. I'm like, whoa, are you kidding me? And, she's smiling. She's like actually smiling. The lady that I put in the hospital last night, who I thought was going to sue me, she's actually smiling. And she walks over to me and gives me a big hug. She says, Dr. Yachter, I don't know what you did yesterday, but I haven't slept this good and felt this good in 40 years. Can I have another adjustment? I said, yeah, we can adjust you, but I think we need to talk about what happened. Come on over here. I said, I took her over to this chart here, which is from Gray's Anatomy, and it shows you how the brain controls all the functions of the body. I said, you see this area right here in the middle part of your back? The nerves actually branch off there and go to your stomach and your pancreas. And that's where I found the part that was pinching the nerve, causing your back to hurt. She's like, so? I said, well, when I opened up the nerve channel, it allowed the function of the nerve supply to get to your pancreas. And your pancreas probably started making insulin again, and your pump was still on, and you got too much. That's why you passed out. I think that's what happened. She's like, okay, are you going to adjust me or what? So I just did what she wanted. I kept taking care of her. She kept coming. She never missed an appointment. A month later, at her progress evaluation, she tells me that her endocrinologist reduced her insulin requirements from 8 units down to 5.
Awesome.
And then a few weeks later, she was down to 3 units. At the 5-month point, she was down to 0.8 units. It was so significant that her endocrinologist at the University of Miami wanted to know what my clinical protocol was for reversing diabetes, because he had her eligible for a special study. And she asked me, she's like, he wants to know if you'll share your clinical protocol for reversing diabetes, treating my diabetes. I said, what? What do you mean treating your diabetes? I wasn't treating your diabetes. All I did was find and remove the interference from what was stopping your body from functioning properly. You know, I opened up the nerve channel to get you out of pain. It just so happens the same nerves that give you the feeling of pain are the same nerves that actually go to your organs. All I did was remove the interference, and your body healed itself. The healing comes from the inside, right? Now, it would have been nice if somebody would have found that 40 years earlier. You know, she came in and she told me, she's like, oh, my back started hurting yesterday. I'm like, really? Never had that before? She said, no. Well, when I went and studied her x-rays, I came back to her. I said, Georgia, I'm looking at 40 years worth of damage in your spine. Are you sure nothing happened in your past? She said, well, I had a car accident 40 years ago. Went off a snowy embankment and I hit a tree. So you didn't have a back problem? She's like, yeah, they did. They took me to the hospital. They gave me muscle relaxers. And that was the end of that. I didn't think it was a big issue. Can you imagine if she would have went to a chiropractor instead of the hospital? She probably would have never had diabetes. But that's what it is. People don't think. They don't know about your nervous system. You know, if you look at this chart right here, this comes from Gray's Anatomy. It says, the nervous system controls and coordinates all organs and structures of the human body. This is the textbook they use in medical school. It's in every medical textbook. Misalignments of spinal vertebrae and discs may cause irritation to the nervous system and affect the structures, organs, and functions that may result in the conditions below. One of them being blood sugar problems, lowered resistance, digestive issues, asthma, cough, difficulty breathing, high blood pressure, bladder problems, sciatica, circulation in the legs, headaches, nervousness, insomnia, high blood. You know, when you have these health problems, where have we been taught to go? To the doctor and get medication. But with Georgia, that wasn't the cause of her problem. She didn't get diabetes because of a lack of medication. She got diabetes because of what? An interference to her body's ability to heal itself. This is called innate intelligence, something everybody here has. When you were born, God breathed life into you as a living being, and that's what enables you to breathe. When you go to sleep at night, why don't you stop breathing? What keeps your heart beating? What keeps your stomach digesting food? What's keeping your lungs, you know, getting the air that it needs? If you cut your skin or you break a bone, your body heals. It's not stupid. It's what? It's smart. That intelligence is what created your body, and that's the same intelligence that keeps you healthy and whole and functioning, managing your blood sugar, your blood pressure, your cholesterol, all the things that you educatedly couldn't even know where to begin. Your body does it as an inborn wisdom. What system does that intelligence use? Your nervous system. When you have this condition called subluxation, when the bone shifts out of alignment, what does it do to the expression of that intelligence? It shuts it down. Is there anybody who wants to be less than 100%, functioning at less than 100% of what they should be? Of course not. Well, what's the only way to know that you're getting proper nerve supply to your body? By the time you feel a problem, it's what?
Too late.
It's too late. The best time to be on top of these issues is long before you have the problems. You know, we all go to the dentist and, you know, we all get checkups preventatively. You know, I just don't understand why chiropractors are willing to sell their soul to lower back pain and just take patients in when they have car accidents, or just take patients in when they have slips and falls. Didn't start with that, guys. The first chiropractic patient was deaf. They had their hearing restored. That's where our history comes from. Yeah. Now, doesn't it make sense, though? Because it's your nervous system. And so the technology that I use in this office and how I take care of all of you is to make sure that we find and correct the cause of disease long before it rears its ugly head. Now, I know many of you came in because your back hurt or you had headaches or this or that. So what did I do? I did thermography so that we could run a heat scan and see where the inflammatory patterns were. And then from there, We took an x-ray. If you hadn't had x-rays recently, we take x-rays and we corroborate the two and we get a pattern. And if you're having a problem, then we diagnose where it's coming from and see how to best correct it. But you know what? I love the people. Like Rodney, I was telling, Rodney came in, we just did his 4-week exam. He didn't have any pain. When I went over all this, and he's like, that makes sense. I want to get this thing checked out. He did it preventatively. He wanted to make sure he was out in front of any sort of sickness or problems and fix it before it turned into an issue. What is that worth? If you could find the cause of prostate disease or heart disease, if you could find the cause of that 10 years before it could actually be identified by a mammogram or a prostate exam, right? Or an MRI, if you could catch it and kill it now, what is that worth? It's priceless. Yeah. And that's exactly what we can predict in many of these cases. When we look at an x-ray or a scan, that's what subluxation does. When it's shutting down vital nerve supply, your body doesn't make healthy cells, it makes sick and disease cells. And that's the preventative value of what we're talking about. Now, you guys, we're doing this. Rodney, we saw his 4-week follow-up. Did you see improvement? Yeah, we saw improvement. You know, I could tell you that only one thing happens. It's like a law. If the innate intelligence is in your brain and it's ready, willing, and able, Chris, to flow from above down through your spinal cord out through the nerves, and all we need to do is, with an adjustment, use it as a key and unlock. The subluxation is the lock. The adjustment is the key. And we just unlock it and release that intelligence into your body. That's all it needs. It's a law. Only good things can happen after you get adjusted. And it's like me, if I open my fingers here, what is the expectation? Which way is this going to go? It's going to go up, right? No, it's going to go down. Sometimes or all the time? So my question is, when I open up a nerve channel, when I make adjustment, what happens after that?
Goes down through your body.
Goes down through your body. Your body's getting flooded with nerve supply that helps it function and heal better. Sometimes or all the time?
All the time.
Whether you're in pain or out of pain, does it make a difference? No, your body's always going to function and heal better. So who on planet Earth should be having their spine checked to make sure that they're living at their God-given potential? Who should be everybody should be checked. At least once in a blue moon, right? So you guys are doing that, but for the guests, I'm really talking to the guests. If you've never had your spine checked or you haven't done it in a while, this is what we do in our office. That's the place we start. I have a consultation. We do an exam. We'll do the heat scan, the thermography, and if we need to do X-rays, we do the X-rays. Now, we don't do this very often, but for those of you who are guests at the workshop, on behalf of the person who brought you in, normally it's well over $400 for all that. But on behalf of the person that brought you in, we will do that. A friends and family gift certificate. We're going to give you this for. It's only $97. So you ask Deborah tomorrow on the way out, and we will honor that for you. It's good for the next 2 weeks. They'll give it to you. It includes everything that you need for me to do the workup and see what's going on with your health, and then give you any kind of recommendations that you need at that time. Fair enough?
Yep.
Okay, so guys, I only say just take what we've learned tonight and put it to use, you know? That's the most important thing, is that you apply it. Did everybody learn something important tonight? Yes?
Yeah.
Awesome, good. All right, so see them up front for anything that you need, appointments for the body composition analysis, for the nerve system analysis, for supplements, whatever you need. All right, thank you guys, love and appreciate you.